Howdy y'all. Just wanted to give another little update here. Just working on some of the other stuff while I'm waiting on heading to the junkyard to get the torque converter for this. I worked on stiffening up the hood and welding in some braces, and I wanted to show you. It may be a little janky. I used bed rail frames out of my junkyard and just kind of tack welded it on in a whole bunch of different places. But it does the job. Hold on here, I'll show you. All right, I paused it for a sec while I went ahead and lowered the hood down. The only problem is I can't lower it down all the way. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it hits, you can't see it really from this side. It hits the radiator hose, the metal part that's sticking up. So what I gotta do is get a regular rubber radiator hose that'll fit that at the top and get that on there. So I should be able to find one. But that's all I got for right now. A little more touch up while I'm waiting on the torque converter. Got the hood pins installed and the hood all clearance down going. I still have to go up and get the trim that goes in the holes. I'm going to do that here in just a few minutes. Then I'll show you guys again. The hood pin is in, installed. Hood pin in, installed. Hood pin in, installed. And it all clears. I don't like the metal next to the spark plug wires, so I'm definitely got to go up and get the trim that goes on here, the glue-on rubber trim, and go all the way around all of this. So I got to get a nice roll of it, quite a bit of it. Probably 6 foot there, 6 foot there, 3 foot there, 3 or 4 feet there. It's probably like 25-foot roll or something should do me. But other than that, that part's done. It's coming along. And the hooking the front parking lights up is going to be really easy. So I just hook them directly to the power on the headlights. Right above them, right next to them. Boom, done. So that'll be simple. And the rest of it's hooked up. And there's a blinker switch kit on Amazon for only 20 bucks, like 23 bucks or something like that. And I'm going to go ahead and pick that up. And it comes with all the wiring, the instructions. It at least showed the instructions. Half the stuff I ordered from there never comes with instructions. But yeah, then after the torque converter gets in, I guess there's still a few little things I need to do. I still need to get the washers put in the right spot on the rear arrow pin. Still need to get Lexan side windows and rear window. I still need to get a drive shaft hoop. I think a window net for the driver's side. Seat belts. Thinking. I think that's about it, really. I have everything else I need. Oh, I left the power on it here. I sure did. Yeah. All right. Yeah, all the gauges are working good. The oil pressure gauge, charge gauge, the temperature gauge, RPM gauge seems to work. Except for it just seems like, I don't know, it revs too high too quick. You barely touch the throttle and you're hitting like 5,000-6,000 RPMs, just barely touching it. And it sounds like it's going that hard, but it's just hard to believe that it revs up so fast and so quick. And it's definitely gonna need to be power washed super good underneath, on top, everything cleaned up, shined up, and the paint retouched. And the sticker fixed. Looked like half of my A fell off somewhere. Not happy about that, but at least the outline is still there. I can just barely see it where it was, and I can use some black electrical tape, put there. I don't know if it'll work or not, but I can try. Using a razor blade and some black electrical tape. But after I get the trim on the hood, I think it'll look a lot better in the front. I don't think it turned out that bad at all, honestly. For what I've been working with and how little tiny bit of money I have to put into anything. Bills gotta come first, you know. Oh, and I need a battery tie down, but the battery is not tied down. Oh, I got the overflow jug done too. Hold on, I'm gonna pause this for a second. All right, that's where I mounted it, right? Hold on a sec there. Got a longer overflow hose for it and everything put on there. It's all hooked up, out of the way, doesn't bother nothing. So that's where we're at for right now, guys. I'll go ahead and let you go. Man, I really like this car. Alrighty fellas, back out here in the shop with Radioactive. Got a little bit of trim work done. Didn't turn out how I wanted it to get done, but I finished it. Oh, I had to order, I couldn't get a transmission out of the salvage yard. I think I already mentioned that. And so what I did is I just went ahead and ordered a new flywheel, or I'm sorry, flex plate, and a new racing torque converter, full race torque converter without lockup. It's like 24 to 2800 RPM stall. It should be just right for this engine. But I'll show you the crappy trim work I did, and you know, it isn't beautiful, but it does the job. It covers the stuff up, so. Yeah, I need to put a few more screws in along the edge, but it mostly covered everything up, so you can't see all the jagged cuts. It ain't too bad. This right here is like one of those metal strips that you put on a floor in front of a door or between doorways and stuff. And I just kind of rounded the corners off on the, try to make it look a little more aerodynamic. And it does have like a little lip that comes up right there. You know, hey, I did what I could with what I could find laying around. So it is what it is. I mean, it turned out all right, I suppose. It needs a few more screws here and there into that really flexible trim. Like you can see where it's coming up right there, because I didn't have it tight enough when I put the screws down. So I need a few more screws here and there to get put in, but I got really tiny little self-tappers that I used. They're really short, small little things. But hey, the hood is pinned, all three areas, and it's trimmed, and it runs good. Doesn't drive yet, but it runs. So at least that. All right, fellas, another day back out here in the shop. And just a heads up, this is gonna be a busy week. There is a lot of stuff coming in. We got the window net, the quick release for the steering wheel, the seat, safety belts for the seat, the flex plate, the torque converter, getting the brakes hooked up, because you can't really test it very well without brakes, you know. There's a bunch of stuff. But anyways, and getting the fin fixed. It's on the back. Want to get it angled a little bit, pointing down in the front, so it helps to hold the back tires planted. Because this car is so light in the back. The only weight is the fuel. It's really light in the back. Jack up the front and the back tires come off the ground. Yeah, it's crazy. So let's get at it. All right, this is supposed to be the window net. kind of a large box. I wasn't expecting it to be quite this big. It's really got some odd packaging. So I guess we shall see here what it looks like. I've never had a window net before. Never installed one before, so this is the first for me. Let's see. That's bigger than I was thinking. Quite good size, actually. How these are supposed to be installed, I haven't got a clue. There's no instructions, of course. Thick plastic stuff is, and a little bar, a couple of weld-on tabs, this part here, and this part. The only thing I know is this thing is supposed to go through one of these. And I don't even know which side. Wow, it's really hard to get through. And it's stuck. It can come over the fold. There's a fold in there. I don't know if I can get it out now. Not sure if I can even get it back out now. There we go. I need to figure out how to install this thing because I don't know. Haven't got any idea. I know it's gotta go solid on the bottom somehow and clips up to the top. But what's going to hold the bottom? Is that supposed to be? I have no idea. So I guess I got to do research to find out how to install a window net because I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here. What holds the bottom down? There's only one bar. That's got to go to the top so it can be clipped up and locked into place. Assuming this will have to like go in like that and then clip up. So this has got to be welded probably on the roll cage. And this goes in like so. It gets clipped up. Crap in the way, so I can't really see into this. But then, I don't know. What holds the bottom down? That is what I don't know. It's like it's missing a bar. So I gotta go do some research to try to figure this out. All right, onto the steering wheel for now. With the steering wheel, I'm gonna be removing the old steering wheel, the old blinker switch, all the plastic, all the wiring that's in the steering wheel, the ignition switch, all of it's coming out and gone. The only thing that's gonna be on there is the steering wheel itself, but I have a different steering wheel I'm using with a quick release that's gonna go on it. And I have a turn signal switch kit coming in the mail. And that will somehow go on there. I'll figure it out when it gets here because I don't know how it's supposed to go on there. But I'm gonna go ahead and start gutting that steering wheel. All right. That's stuck in there. Give it a little. Wow. That was kind of a pain in the butt. Let's see. Alright, time to get a hammer. Alrighty fellas, sorry about earlier. What I was doing is I was working on this steering wheel, getting it cut, and that was actually yesterday, and getting it all prepped and ready and cleaned off, which I did finish now. What happened is a neighbor came over, a good friend of mine, buddy, and his car wouldn't start, wouldn't crank, and it was horrible messing with that thing. What happened, well, I'm not even sure what was actually wrong with it. I checked this neutral safety switch, the ignition would turn on, had power to everything. I went through the ignition safety switch, the neutral safety switch, I mean, making sure that wasn't the problem. It wasn't. I changed the starter relay. That wasn't the problem. I went through every single fuse, both under the hood and under the dash. No problem there. So instead of trying to find out why the trigger wire to the solenoid wasn't getting any power, and that's all it was, because I took a screwdriver and jumped the solenoid and it cranked right over and fired up. So it just wasn't getting any juice somehow from the ignition switch to the solenoid kicker wire or the trigger wire. But that is taken care of now. Now what I'm working on back on here is, yeah, I ended up putting a push button in it, made it easy. But anyways, here we go. All right, this is where I'm at. On the back of this, right here, there's a bearing in here, which is good because it goes around the steering shaft and keeps it centered in the back. But in the front, there is no bearing. So what I am doing is taking a metal tube, cutting it in half, welding a bracket on the bottom, and I'll sit this in it there, and then I'll stick the other half that I welded, or that I cut off, weld a tab to that one, stick it in there, and then I'll have both halves there, and I can weld the tabs down to the metal, and it'll sit right in there. I'll show you. All right, I got the steering column sort of fixed. I'll show you. Just go. Alright, what I did is make a slit in here and then hammer it in so that, I don't even know if you can see in there, but the tube's on the bottom and the top, and I've already turned the wheels all the way to the right and the left, and it stays in there. What I had to do also is, since this was on a swivel here, I stuck a bolt in on each side, and I know it looks absolutely horrible, but I'm not the greatest welder, no matter what machine I'm welding with. And I did the same thing on this side, welded a bolt in to both sides of the steel so the shaft cannot move. See, it's solid. And I'm trying to get this camera to turn around, but since I'm wearing a rubber glove, it doesn't. Alright, there, I got it. Yeah, I'm wearing these nitrile 8mm gloves or whatever, the thick ones. So it helps keep my hand clean. Plus I got some sores on them that I'm trying to keep from getting infected. So, alright, steering wheel part, the shaft I think is mostly done. The quick release is on its way here. I already have a steering wheel here. So I'm just waiting on the quick release. When that gets here, I'll get that put on and the steering wheel put on. That'll be done. I think the flywheel or the flex plate is out for delivery today. So I think what I'm going to be doing next is getting this transmission dropped. So I can get the old flex plate off and get ready to put the new one on. And the torque converter is due here to be here tomorrow. So I'm going to hold off getting this video uploaded. Just try and get a whole bunch of stuff done on this video. This one might be a long one. We'll see. Video. Alright, I got the, you see, I already got the steering wheel done. I said I was going to work on getting the transmission dropped because the flex plate was supposed to come in. So I went ahead and I got the transmission dropped. And right there is the flex plate and old torque that I took off. Yeah, I made a little mess. Actually, I made a huge mess everywhere. But I guess that's beside the point. And I got a package. So I gotta find something to get it open with to see if it's the flex plate. I don't know, I picked it up. It was felt pretty heavy, so I'm not sure if it is the flex plate, even though that's what was supposed to be delivered today. It may be the torque converter, but that wasn't supposed to be delivered till tomorrow. So let's see here. Yeah, it's not the easiest thing in the world trying to hold a camera, make sure you're pointing it in the right spot, and open a package. I don't know, that's a pretty thick box. I'm thinking this is a torque converter. That'd be cool if the torque converter came in today. Wow. Alright, I'm gonna put this camera down for a second to get these staples out. Alright, I got the staples out here. Let's see what we got. That is definitely a torque converter. JDM Performance. Alright. So maybe the flywheel will still get delivered today and I can do this whole thing and get it back running. Well, I guess the engine still runs, just sure it doesn't move anywhere because it didn't have a transmission. Wow. Yeah, that's much skinnier, smaller overall torque converter. It's tiny compared to that big beast. I don't know if I can get them both in there or not. Hey, you probably can't tell unless I set them beside each other, which we'll do later. Alright, I'm going to go check delivery options there, or delivery, to see where the flex plate is. Alrighty, fellas. I didn't record it because I couldn't really record underneath the car. Just, it would have been too hard trying to do this job and trying to record. But I got the transmission back up in. See the new flex plate, because it just came in the mail right after the torque converter did. So I got everything torqued down, bolted up, everything back together. I'm about to add some transmission fluid, but the flywheel is overall smaller. It's a 157 tooth instead of a 164 tooth, and it's not as big around, and the starter won't reach. So I have to see if I can clean this starter up, box it up, and send it back and get a different starter. I am guessing we're going to need the exact same starter that my son just got and put on his Celine replica. That Mustang out there that we worked on a while back here. Because it took an offset type starter. And I'm going to have to get the same one for this. So unfortunately, even though I got it all back together, I can't even friggin' test it. See if the transmission's working. Okay, one thing is another. But at least in the meantime, I can go ahead and get some fluid in it and get it ready. And so I'm gonna go ahead and end up ending this video off here and getting it uploaded to you guys so you got something. I'll show you underneath real quick too. I spilled some tranny fluid all over underneath there like a ding dong, but it was old transmission fluid, so I don't mind. I just have to get some cat litter and get rid of it. Hopefully you can see something under here. Let me see. Yeah, I don't have it all. I don't have the shifter hooked up yet, but the trans is all bolted up, drive shafts back in. That's all good. And there's my big transmission fluid mess that I made. I gotta get a bag of cat litter for that. But that's where I'm leaving off, guys. I got the steering wheel prepped and ready for when the quick release comes in. Columns all ready. The only thing I can't do is crank it over. Alright. Here, I'll show you. Let me flip this around. Doesn't reach the flywheel. Unfortunately, the same thing that happened to my son with his Celine replica. The exact same thing. He had to order a special offset starter for it. One that was, came in smaller. And now I need that exact same one because I got the same style or same size round of teeth. So, is what it is. We'll get her done. I'll get this ended off and get it uploaded to you.